Hi there, my name is Julia, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my research on social media and political participation. Specifically, we're going to look at how political interactions on social media affected political opinions and participation in the 2016 presidential election. As I was considering topics for this project, I realized how much of a role online writing has played in my own participation in politics. The 2016 general election was the first time I could vote, and political presence and interactions on social media, whether or not I would like to admit it, absolutely affected the way that I cast my ballot on November 8th, 2016, and the enthusiasm with which I did so. So I got to thinking, am I the only one who feels this way? Were other people positively or negatively influenced by social media when discussing politics? How much of an impact has social media had on our democracy in general? So I put out a survey, and during this presentation, I'm going to walk us through some of my most important findings. Of course, this is a discussion, so at certain points in the video, I'm going to ask that you pause this presentation and share your own feedback or opinions on the designated Flipgrid, to which the link can be found on our Writing 235 Etherpad or on your URI email account. Okay, now let's get started. So, of the 258 responses I received on my survey, about 95% were eligible to vote. And of those eligible to vote, about 95% did so. Of those who voted, 56% voted for Hillary Clinton, the Democratic candidate, 29% voted for Donald Trump, the Republican candidate, and about 5% voted for a third-party candidate, and around 10% wrote in their own option. Now, I know politics can be a touchy subject for some, but I would like to encourage everyone who's participating to pause the video here and answer these questions. Did you vote in the 2016 presidential election? If yes, who did you vote for? And if no, why didn't you vote? Now remember, we're all adults, and I'm confident that we can have a constructive, curious, open-minded conversation about politics, so it shouldn't be a problem that you disclose who you voted for. Once you're done with that response, keep on listening. Okay, so now we're on to the interesting part, how social media has impacted our views. Personally, I think social media platforms such as Facebook are potentially a great tool to engage in healthy, constructive debate and conversation, which ultimately leads us to higher political tolerance and understanding. However, my experiences on social media during the 2016 election cycle don't actually line up with this view. I personally am very vocal about my political views, and I'm very passionate about politics and political participation. However, I know that some people are uncomfortable confronting political differences, and that's okay too. Now, let me ask you another question. Did you ever disengage with someone on social media? That is to say, unfollow, unfriend, or block because you didn't agree with their political views? Or do you know if anyone disengaged with you? Pause here and post your response to the Flipgrid. I'm going to be honest. I unfollowed several people on Facebook during the election season, and I am very aware that a handful of my family members, including my parents, unfollowed me too. Now, my survey results are pretty interesting here. Around 50% of respondents say that they disengaged with someone on social media, while of course the other half say that they did not. And when asked whether or not someone disengaged with them, around 15% said yes, 38% said no, and a little less than half were not sure. So I'm curious to hear what you all have to say about this result. So pause here and let me know. What does this desire or ability to disengage with people of conflicting views mean? Do you think it's a problem, or do you think it's no big deal? If you're looking for my opinion, here it is. I think the ability to discuss and debate politics with people you respect has been proven to increase our own political tolerance and understanding of our own views. I'll be the first to admit that I'm guilty of hitting that unfollow button, but I think the desire to do so and the ease with which we can cut out people with differing opinions from our social media feeds is really problematic on both an individual and societal level. We all know how polarized the country is becoming, and I would venture to say that this reflex to avoid uncomfortable conversations is definitely a contributing factor to that polarization. So another set of questions that I asked dealt with how often people talked about politics on social media and what the outcomes of those interactions were. 42% of respondents said that they never engaged in political conversations by posting their opinions, while 58% said that they posted about their opinions either very seldom, sometimes, often, or very frequently. When asked about commenting on others' posts, I nearly saw exactly the same breakdown, with only some variation in how frequently people engaged. So here's the kicker for me. While 42% of respondents say that they never interacted with people about politics on social media, only 8.9% said that they never became frustrated, saddened, or upset by their experiences with political interaction. And only 8.1% said that they never learned anything or gained any understanding from these interactions. Another discussion point. How often did you engage with people about politics on social media? And how often were you positively or negatively impacted by these conversations? I know I have both been positively and negatively impacted by my discussions of politics on social media. But my survey results trend that more people were impacted in a negative way than in a positive way. In fact, over 50% of people said that they were often or very frequently upset by talking about politics on social media, while only 28% said that they often or very frequently learned something or gained understanding of other views through this medium. I personally think that this has to do with the way we discuss politics. We talk about nearly every issue from a moral standpoint, even the ones that have not had a moral attachment in the past. Even issues like economics and healthcare are discussed in terms of life or death, the same way social policies are. In fact, we often agree on the fact that some solution to a given problem has to occur. We may even agree on the solution. We really just disagree on how to arrive at that solution. We view the other side as evil or stupid because we assign a moral value to each issue, which leads to personal attacks and arguments and discussions, rather than attempting to actually understand the other side and arrive at some kind of compromise. So if you have anything you'd like to add to this topic, please do so, because this is a really interesting conversation and I'd like to hear what you have to say. If you don't think you have anything to add to this particular topic, then you can keep listening. So my final discussion question for you all to answer is this. Do you think that your political interactions on social media, however limited they may be, had any influence on your vote, or at least who you wanted to win in the 2016 presidential election? I know that mine did. But the overwhelming majority of respondents to my survey, nearly 90%, said that they didn't think so. Now, whatever you may say or believe, I think that everything we see related to politics, on social media or not, influences our opinions. It may change them, or it may make them stronger. But I think social media has been an extremely powerful outlet for political participation, especially in the 2016 election. Thanks so much for watching this presentation, and if you have any closing points to contribute to the Flipgrid, I would encourage you to do so.